Long before European cartographers began mapping the interior of North America, a singular, massive Siouan-speaking people thrived near the Great Lakes of Wisconsin. This ancestral group represented the common root of several prominent nations, including the Ho-Chunk, Winnebago, Iowa, Otoe, and Missouria. Around the 16th century, a major division occurred within this parent stock. Seeking new ecological niches or responding to internal sociopolitical shifts, the Iowa, Otoe, and Missouria separated from the main body, embarking on a long southwestward migration. The Otoe referred to themselves in their native tongue as the Jiware, while the Missouria used the self-designation Nutachi. According to tribal linguistic tradition, the very name Otoe possesses an illustrative etymological origin. Tribal elder Truman Daly explained that the neighboring Iowa tribe gave the name Uto, derived from Yurt meaning in and to meaning blue, green, or fog, to the Otoes. This was a direct reference to their tactical military practice of using dense river fog as physical cover during armed conflicts. The migration of these nations is recorded in both archaeological sites and ancestral creation stories, such as the birth of the people. In Otoe-Missouria cosmology, the universe began as a vast expanse of water that slowly receded to reveal land and forests, where all living creatures spoke a single unified language. The Bear clan emerged first from the waters, believing they were alone, until they discovered tracks in the mud and captured the Beaver clan. Rather than engaging in warfare, the Beaver clan diplomatically proposed a covenant of mutual aid, explaining that life in isolation was far too difficult. This system of peaceful integration continued as they united with the Elk and Eagle clans, and eventually met the Buffalo, Snake, Owl, and Pigeon clans, establishing a unified society under the creator, Wakanda. This cosmological framework mirrors the actual historical survival strategies the tribe would employ when confronted with systemic threats. By the late 17th century, the Otoe had established their territory along the present-day Iowa-Minnesota border, where the French explorer Jacques Marquette mapped their presence near the Des Moines and Upper Iowa rivers in 1673. In 1700, Pierre Le Moyne d'Iberville documented that the Otoe in Iowa lived alongside the Omaha tribe west of the Mississippi and Missouri rivers. As European colonial empires competed for control over the fur trade, the Otoe and Missouria became highly active participants in transatlantic diplomacy. In 1725, a historic delegation of indigenous leaders from the Missouri River Valley traveled to France under the guidance of Étienne de Vignard, Sieur de Bourgmont. Although the Colonial Council originally planned to send 10 delegates, economic restrictions limited the final party to 5 individuals. This elite diplomatic mission included one Otoe chief, referred to as an Otoptata, one Osage chief, one Missouria chief, a young Missouria woman, and Chicago, the ambassador of the Michigamias. Arriving in Paris on September 20th, 1725, the envoys were received by the Duke of Bourbon, the Duchess of Orleans, and the directors of the Company of the Indies. Presented directly to King Louis XV, they delivered a sacred necklace of friendship. The delegates became a sensation in Parisian society, performing traditional war dances at the opera and demonstrating their hunting methods by chasing deer in the Bois de Boulogne. When one of the delegates died during the long journey, his companions delivered a moving funerary oration in his honor before the French court. Decades later, survivors of the trip recalled the heavy, suffocating perfumes worn by the ladies of Paris, dryly noting that they smelled like alligators. While the Otoe and Missouria successfully dominated regional trade during the early 18th century, the introduction of European pathogens soon destabilized their societies. The Missouria suffered catastrophic population losses from recurring epidemics of infectious diseases, particularly smallpox. This biological devastation was compounded by constant warfare with well-armed eastern tribes, such as the Second Fox. Faced with imminent destruction, the remaining Missouria were forced to disperse in 1796. While some members integrated with the Osage and Ka, a core group of 80 individuals sought refuge with the Otoe. By 1817, the Missouria population had fallen to barely 100 individuals. In response, the two nations formally united in a strategic alliance for peace and physical survival. Ever since this historic union, the federal government and neighboring tribes have recognized the Otoe-Missouria as a single political entity, even though the tribe's internal social organization has maintained a distinct separation between the two groups. In August 1804, the Otoe-Missouria became the first tribal nation to hold a formal council with the United States government during the Lewis and Clark expedition. Meeting at a site that became known as the Council Bluffs, the expedition leaders presented the Otoe-Missouria with silver peace medals, a canister of gunpowder, a bottle of whiskey, and various trade goods. To impress the assembled tribal leaders, Captain Meriwether Lewis demonstrated his military technology by firing his airgun, a display that astonished the onlookers. Following this encounter, the Otoe-Missouria found themselves increasingly targeted by American expansion. During the early 19th century, Chon Moni case, also known as Shao Monokuse or Yitan, emerged as one of the most prominent chiefs of the Otoe tribe. He was highly influential during the 1819 Long Expedition Council at Fort Lisa. Yitan ruled over a massive Otoe village located 3 miles southeast of the modern town of Uten, Nebraska, which was named in his honor. Under his leadership, the Otoe-Missouria signed their first official land cession treaty in 1830, surrendering their hunting grounds in Iowa. Yitan's reign ended on April 28, 1837, when he was killed in a violent dispute with young Otoe men who had run away with one of his wives. The dramatic gunfight was witnessed and documented in detail by the first Baptist missionary to the tribe, Moses Merrill. Following Chief Yitan's death and under intense pressure from white squatters who coveted the fertile prairie lands, the Otoe-Missouria signed a succession of treaties in 1833, 1836, and 1854, surrendering more and more of their ancestral domain. During the 1854 treaty negotiations, Commissioner of Indian Affairs George Manypenny assured tribal leaders that their reservation would remain on secure, familiar territory. However, before the tribe could even relocate, white settlers illegally occupied the promised land. Agent George Hepner compensated the tribe with a meager $8,000 while threatening to use military force if they did not move immediately. The resulting Big Blue Reservation was a narrow strip of land measuring 25 miles in length and 10 miles wide along the Kansas-Nebraska border. For 26 years, the tribe struggled on this restricted tract. Although the Otoe-Missouria were a semi-nomadic hunter-gatherer people, federal authorities banned the seasonal buffalo hunt, attempting to force them into farming. The reservation was plagued by corruption. Agent Dennison stole $13,000 in tribal annuity payments and fled, leaving the tribe at the mercy of dishonest local businessmen. Despite these hardships, some tribal members, such as those of the Barnes family, established by the marriage of ship carpenter Francis Marion Barnes to Mary Jane Drips Benoit, a classmate of future First Lady Julia Dent, managed to build influential homesteads and act as key intermediaries at the town of Barnston, Nebraska. The immense pressure of forced assimilation and economic deprivation eventually fractured the Otoe-Missouria along ideological lines. By the 1870s, the tribe had split into two distinct factions: the Coyote Band, a traditionalist group led by Little Pipe, and principal spokesman Medicine Horse. They fiercely resisted assimilation, demanded immediate removal to Indian territory to escape white settlers, and wished to preserve their ancient hunting practices and language. The Quaker Band, an accommodationist faction heavily influenced by Quaker Indian agents and missionaries, who favored remaining on the Big Blue Reservation and adopting Western agriculture and education. In 1878, the Coyote Band, consisting of approximately 160 traditionalists, escaped the Big Blue Reservation, traveling south to temporarily settle on the Sac and Fox Reservation in Indian Territory. For those who remained in Nebraska, life grew increasingly difficult. Realizing that survival was impossible under the constant harassment of white settlers, the remaining tribal members petitioned the federal government to sell the rest of their reservation. On October 5, 1881, a solemn procession of 320 Otoe-Missouria began their forced removal from Nebraska. Carrying their possessions in basic wagons and on ponies, they walked southward through autumn storms. After an arduous 18-day journey covering over 250 miles, the group arrived at their new agency near Red Rock Creek, Oklahoma, on October 23, 1881. The land purchased for the tribe in Indian Territory comprised a 129,000-acre tract located north of Stillwater, Oklahoma, in modern-day Noble and Kay counties. Decades later, the tribe took legal action against the federal government, arguing that they had been forced to sell their fertile Big Blue Reservation far below its actual value. In 1955, the tribe won this historic lawsuit, and the government was ordered to pay them $1.2 million in compensation. However, their communal land holdings in Oklahoma were short-lived. In 1904, the implementation of the Dawes Act officially ended the reservation's communal status. The federal government divided the collective land into individual allotments, distributing them to 514 heads of households. The remaining lands were declared surplus and sold to non-native buyers, leaving the Otoe-Missouria landless within their own borders. Upon their arrival in Oklahoma, Otoe-Missouria children faced a highly aggressive, government-sponsored campaign of cultural assimilation. The newly constructed boarding school at Red Rock was designed to systematically strip children of their identity. Along with reading and writing, boys were taught carpentry and farming, while girls were trained in cooking, sewing, and domestic cleaning. The school taught that everything Indian was undesirable, punishing children for speaking their native language. However, the Otoe-Missouria resisted this cultural destruction. Parents began pulling their children out of the reservation school, preferring to send them to local public schools. This quiet act of defiance forced the reservation boarding school to close in 1918, and the tribe subsequently reclaimed the empty buildings to serve as their tribal community center. The Chai-Ware language suffered a catastrophic decline during the 20th century. Although documented by Christian missionaries in the 1830s, the language was almost entirely lost by 1940. For decades, scholars worked to record the language. Important publications included William Whitman's Descriptive Grammar of Iowa Oto, 1947, and Jim G. Goodtrack's Pagranaha Wawagaxi, 1972, and Baksoje Jiwere Nyudaji Maunka, 1992. The last native speaker of the Otoe-Missouria dialect was Truman Washington Daly, also known as Mashi Manyi, Soaring High, and Sunge Haka, White Horse. Born on the reservation in 1898, Daly was the son of George Washington Daly, a member of the Missouria Eagle Clan and the traditionalist Coyote Band. In 1928, he married Lavina Koshaway, the daughter of Jonathan Koshaway, a founder of the Native American Church. Daly served as a respected peyote roadman and dedicated his life to preserving his heritage. He famously observed that while ceremonies fade when people stop practicing them, the songs remain, stating, "We can't bury the song." Daly's death on December 16, 1996, marked the end of an era, leaving the language technically extinct, but his recordings laid the groundwork for today's language revival programs. Today, the Otoe-Missouria tribe is a thriving, federally recognized nation headquartered in Red Rock, Oklahoma, with tribal jurisdiction spanning parts of Noble and Kay counties. Under the Bureau of Indian Affairs Pawnee Agency, led by Superintendent Jeremy Lovecamp, the tribe represents a vital part of a larger community of over 7,000 Native citizens in the region. Since 2007, the tribe has been led by Chairman John R. Schotten, a member of the Owl Clan, the Otoe-Alaska Society, and the Red Rock Creek Gourd Dancers. Schotten, who was first elected to the tribal council at the age of 29, has overseen a major economic expansion. To fund critical social services, the tribe has diversified its business portfolio beyond traditional gaming. While they continue to operate several successful casinos, including the Little Bit of Paradise and Seven Clans Paradise Casino in Red Rock, and the Little Bit of Paradise Travel Plaza and First Council Casino in Newkirk, e-commerce has become their primary source of revenue. Through the Native American Financial Services Association, NAFSA, the tribe established successful online financial programs, such as American Web Loan, which has successfully funded tribal housing, health services, and education.